Hello everyone, this is FXO Chef. You might know of me, hopefully. Here to do actually my first video on YouTube. I did one for NASL for an application video, but this one is going to be just a basic beginner's video about things that a lot of people don't cover. For instance, things we're going to talk about today besides, this is basically for players of all levels. If you want to know what a pro player such as myself uses as settings, as hotkeys, the reasons behind it, I've been asked this a lot, so I figured I would discuss it, and I can even tell you about other pro players, their hotkeys, the reasons they use them differently. And again, we can talk about just different play styles, why they'd be used, and of course settings, things you might not know about tournaments, things you might not know about just pretty much everything, sponsorship, just a general overview of the beginners, how to get to be a pro gamer and what to expect, beginnings, right? Something like that is what we're going to talk about today. So, you've just logged in, this is your first time ever on StarCraft 2, or this is your last time, you're a Division Rank 5 Master perhaps. Either way, this is my settings. I've been a #1 Grandmaster in the North American Division, and that's just one credential. So, you go to menu, you go to options, there are different choices here. For me, I preferred windowed full screen compared to full screen. Full screen, you can choose whatever you want to here. With windowed full screen, it just puts it at whatever your Windows settings are. So if your Windows settings are at any of these other ones, then it'll go to whatever settings that's at. Just something you should know from if you ever go to a tournament and you don't know what display settings you had it at, you should probably check. I actually like it at 1920, or actually not 1920, but I think it is something like that as my setting. It's not even here as an option, but it is whenever I go to Windows full screen. Alright, actually I guess it just is at 1600, 900. See, even I don't know, but I can use either of those as I have in the past. I mean, I guess I should have figured that out beforehand. So, great, right? We're learning. I'm learning too from just checking out my own graphics and displays, right? You want to check out these boxes? Do you have them checked? I actually don't. Do I know if reduced mouse lag helps or not? I don't know, but for me, I'm used to it being not checked. You want to check and see if it is for yourself or not. Now, on to settings. Chef, you play it on low everywhere? And I do. There's many reasons for it. I could put it at ultra. I've played ultra. I have actually a very nice computer, built it myself, but for me, it's easier for me not to get distracted. I can see things easier. For instance, different elements like storm, burrow, like the little, cloak distortion, the little burrow distortion. I can see that a little bit easier on low without being distracted by other things. That's my personal preference. If you're big into graphics, then by all means, just play on custom, just play on extreme, right? Just put everything up high and just enjoy it. But for me, it's distracting. I might get used to it over time, but definitely for me, I prefer it low. I'm taking a lot of time on graphics, so it's just your own decision. I prefer low. Sound, again, however, wherever sound is best, just make sure you actually do play with sound on. It's very important to be able to hear eggs popping, view under attack, DTs, that sort of thing. Voice, I don't ever use voice chat there. Mouse sensitivity. Here we come to a very interesting point. You want to put your mouse sensitivity at an area where your mouse feels faster than you're comfortable with, but just slightly. The reason for this is you want to continue, well, in most cases at least, I guess for me, I'll just quantify everything by just, for me, this is how I've done it. What you do with mouse sensitivity is, whenever you're playing a game, you want to easily be able to click things. Say you want to be able to split your Marines. So click, 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 and you split them all. That's your goal. You want to do it as quick as possible. So, whenever you're trying to do this, you want the quickest mouse as possible, but you want it to be accurate still. So, you just keep going up. Like, I've went up from around 59, I go up to around 61, 68, and now I'm at around 76-ish. Maybe I'll go up, a little bit more, 78, just see if I stay there, and again, the goal is to be able to do it very fast. The same thing with mouse scroll speed. If you don't have screen saving, which is something we'll also talk about later, mouse scroll speed is very important. It's what lets you move up and down, side to side on the map. Like, say this is your main base right in here. You want to go to your natural, to the left. You just scroll over to the left by doing that with your mouse. I like 61, but again, you want it to be pretty fast. So we're going to put it at 63. We'll fiddle with that in-game a little bit too. We'll see how that adjusts it. Keyboard scroll speed and drag scroll speed I actually don't use. Mouse wheel zoom is somewhat important. I have it enabled. It lets you kind of zoom in, zoom out. It helps you see observers as well if you're really interested in that. So that's something nice to have just as an option. Gameplay, this is also important. Just simple things. Show unit status bars, always. You want it on always. You always want to be able to see if your units are low health, high health, if they're about to die. It can change battles immensely, helps you decide how many times they've stimmed, things like that. Slow Flyer Helper, it's not as important, but it's nice to have. Display build grid, it's your own preference. If you're Terran or Protoss, it's very important to have this on. I enjoy having it on as well, just to make sure I don't misplace hatcheries. Save all replays, display replay time info. You should generally have those clicked to save your replays. Menu bar mode. If you like being able to see your menu, but not accidentally click it when you're scrolling up, like I do, unclickable is good. You can also put it hidden. It's also very good. You can still use it with F10. Control groups, I have unclickable. You can also hide these or put them at normal. It's just, for me, nice to be able to make sure that I put them on the right keys, so I leave it as simply unclickable, not hidden. If you're very comfortable with, like, you know your hotkeys are there, then go ahead and, by all means, put it hidden. Hydra uses hidden. A lot of people use hidden. I've used hidden too. I think in one of my GSL matches I used hidden because I was feeling comfortable with it. It's just really small personal preference. Just make sure that you can't click them. Don't put normal. So then you'll accidentally click right here and you'll hit 4, and it's just a pain in the neck. Show alerts, show game timer, world object tooltips, display subtitles, and command hotkey text are next things. Show alerts. If you like to see alerts, by all means, it's not a bad thing. It gives you text over here. It can be distracting. Show game timer. It's very important to know when to put down spores, when to expect mutas, when to expect ETs, that sort of thing, for whatever race you play. World object tooltips, again, use at your own discretion. Display subtitles, command hotkey text, those are things that aren't that important for me. Battle.net, you see some of the people I've panned. Show language filter, all this stuff, all your own personal preference. So that's a basic overview on this, and again, hopefully your settings are close to this, and if not, try them out. See if they'll help you improve, and if not, it's okay. But now you know. The next thing, hotkeys. What? This is kind of unimportant. It is, but it's also very interesting. Let me go ahead and explain. You want to click, you went to hotkeys, you want to click global. What? What's this? You want to click camera. This is just basic settings for your camera. Now, to do screen captures, it's very important. You simply scroll down a bit, you go to something called Create Location 1. This is generically something like, I want to say something like F5, maybe F6, I don't know. This is generally F5, F6. This actually is probably Control F5, so this one on your screen probably looks something like this, Control F5. That's kind of difficult to do. I prefer putting them on the F2, 3, and 4 keys, are what I use. So again, you click this, you then click, generally helps use both hands, Shift F2. So then you just change the one below it, and the one there to Shift F3, Shift F4. Then you go down here, jump to location, you click it again, you click F2. This one, click F3, click F4 for the next one. And I actually leave this one alone. This one is Control F8, so it would be Control F7, F6, and F5, but I've changed them. I don't actually use a 4th control group. I just don't. And I leave F1 alone because it helps me find workers that aren't mining. So that's why I haven't used F1 in this situation. All the other things here aren't as important. Hopefully you have it just still standard. If you want to change your hotkeys, that's your own right. I will not talk about anything else other than that. Click OK, and it's generally just saved for yourself. So those are 2 settings. Now let's go ahead and talk about it in-game. I'll explain all these things in-game. We can adjust some small things, and I can talk about why hotkeys are important, why I use the hotkeys I use, things like that. I'm actually going to show it to you in a real ladder game, hopefully against someone fairly good, and I have no idea, by the way. It's just going to be a ladder game. I've just chosen a random time to do this. Hopefully we'll find someone, and I can still talk about all the different changes I make with hotkeys and the reasons behind it. So I've had a lot of people ask me this, so I figured if I'm going to start a YouTube channel, and I'm going to be posting videos that are only found on YouTube, I better go ahead and start with the basics. So we're playing someone named Shokin on Shattered Temple, a ZVP. Now, we're not really covering build orders here, so it's not that important that you notice exactly what I do that way. We're simply going to talk about hotkeys, and we're going to explain how things work. Our goal here really isn't even to win. I'm just trying to explain to you, the viewer, exactly what's going on with hotkeys and why. Okay, this is my personal settings. I'm not claiming it's the best, and you're welcome to modify it. Take things that you like from my hotkeys and adjust them to your own. However, the basics still stand. Okay, you want your first hatchery, or at least a way to go back here on one hotkey. It's very important. So say I'm like looking over here, I'm like, oh, I map hacked I don't, but like if I could see his base here, or if I had an overlord here and I wanted to see it and then I wanted to go back home real quick, you click 1 twice. That's the point of it. The next thing, if you want to go like to this overlord real quick and you don't want to actually use that scroll speed that we talked about. See how quick that is? It's pretty nice, right? If you didn't want to do that, you just click 6-6. I use 6-6 because I just always use it. I could have easily used 5. I've just used 6. And the same for this overlord. Look at that. No have fun, good luck. Have fun, good luck, sir. Alright, so he's at this base. Little does he know I'm recording this for YouTube, right? Alright, so I have this one a 6, this one is 7. You generally don't necessarily need to show them this overlord, but he'll see it anyway in this case, so it's not a huge deal. Then, with this at 1, and with your 2 scouts, 2 overlords at 6 and 7, I'm going to do something else that's kind of interesting. I'm going to put this hatchery at 4 as well. The reason behind this is that not so I can just click back from 4. Like I don't use 4 to go back here. Still 4 is just so I can put every hatchery on 1 hotkey. This helps your macro immensely. If for instance you're off fighting a battle, like this overlord, oh it's fighting this hatchery, like I'm gonna kill it. It's going down, right? And like this is heavy micro, I need to like dodge and